Hi all and welcome to a new video. As I was sitting this weekend and finishing speed painting on my 2000 points of OCR Bone Reapers, as I want them done before my Italians and Bolt action came in, I realized that I wanted to make a video as to why I play so many systems. And then that evolved into, what games should you play? Later on I'll probably make an actual video about this, but for now we're going to go into what system or wargame you should play. The answer is different for everyone. For me, I chose my games to partake in my local community, as I work right across the street from a friendly local game store and want to support them as much as possible. I'll be going over the pros and cons of every game system I play and know of, and hopefully if one piques your interest, you can jump on in. Warhammer 40,000 is the D&D 5th edition of Tabletop Wargames. It is made by Games Workshop and is the most popular, easiest to find a group to play with, and with 10th edition coming up, very easy to get into. I love this game still. However, just like D&D 5e, it's a great intro, but not my go-to anymore. It's easy to find a group, sold everywhere, and has arguably some of the best looking minis. It is, however, prohibitively expensive at times. Unless you buy secondhand, then you can save some money. It has a long history of rules bloat the longer an edition goes on as well, so it's unknown if the new edition will do any better. And it does not have alternate activations or really a way to mess with the turn order, so it's just a you go, I go, which are not my favorite types of systems now that I've experienced more of them. Kill Team is the cheap version of 40k. Spend $60 on a squad and engage in XCOM like squad v squad combat. It is way easier to get into since you're only playing a squad, has alternate activations, sold everywhere as well, and is arguably some of the best looking minis, almost the same pros as normal 40k. The big con, however, is it can actually be harder to find a consistent group, since a lot of people treat it like a stepping stone into normal 40k, which is a huge disservice to this game. It does have slight balance issues at the time, though, with the Compendium kill teams and the more unique kill teams being the better choice than the Compendium kill teams, but honestly, most of the Compendium kill teams are being cycled out in favor of better, more specialized things, so it honestly depends on what you end up going with. Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar is a very interesting and slightly different take on a Games Workshop wargame. You have beautiful fantasy miniatures, and the cons are kind of similar to the other ones, but you play this if you want to play a more robust melee, almost mind game system. The pros of it has a really fun double turn system that is surprisingly well balanced no matter what anyone tells you, and a ton of factions to choose from that somehow have distinct playstyles, which deserves praise in a 90% melee focused game. It can be prohibitively expensive at times though. Unless you buy secondhand, then you can save some money. The double turn system is not very balanced for games under 2,000 points as well, so sometimes it can feel a little one-sided when you're getting up to that point level. But honestly, once you hit 2,000 or above, the game truly shines. And it's not like playing at lower points is horrible or terrible. Around even 1,000 to 1,500 points, the double turn system isn't as big of an issue. It's mostly at 500 points, when you can lose like half your army because someone else got a double turn. Next up is Battletech, and I will combine Alpha Strike and normal Battletech together for this. Battletech is a very storied and old franchise about battle mechs and mixed armed warfare. Alpha Strike is a system I have almost no problems with. For a buy-in, you only need to spend about $100 for your side, and that's on the max end. And it is very easy to get into and play on a larger scale, in Battletech terms at least for larger scale, wargame. And it can be easy to find a group or start one due to the very low buy-in. I honestly don't have any cons for Alpha Strike. I love it. It's one of my favorite introductory wargame systems. It has the depth for people who want it, but the simplicity for people who just want to know what this is all about and play a quick game. For someone who has never played a wargame system before, I have taught and played an entire game of Alpha Strike in under 2.5 hours to someone before. And this is someone who had never played one before. That's amazing. And considering how interesting Alpha Strike can feel, it's amazing to do as well. However, normal Battletech is a very different game. It is also fun, but more like a spreadsheet at times. It has a lot more rules to learn that can be very hard to remember, and can be very annoying to reference. However, it is fun when you actually learn everything, and the buy-in is 60 at most, and that's if you want minis for you and your opponent's side. Unlike Alpha Strike, it's very small amounts. That being said, I don't play normal Battletech a ton unless it's against someone who knows the game system super well, because normal Battletech and Alpha Strike are like two completely different games. That being said, I still recommend trying one of them. Next up is Bolt Action, which is a World War II tabletop wargame that is a surprisingly deep and tactical wargame with a very solid system. The main pro is there are not that many rule updates. They are few and far between, and mostly are focused in an edition update. The game is only on 2nd edition, has an amazing activation system that completely randomizes which side gets to activate and in what order, but it's also super balanced and super cheap to get into as well. You are spending less than $200 on most armies. The big con is it can be harder to find a group, and there are just some flat out bad armies, so make sure to research some before buying in. I went into one of the more armies, the Italians, but honestly, you can win with anything. You just have to do the tactics right. But the main reason I love bolt action is there's no other system I've played where I have sat a squad in a house and prayed to God that the artillery shell hitting them actually explodes on the bottom floor, and then praying to God that that artillery shell exploding on the bottom floor doesn't somehow destroy the entire house. I love this system. It's unique, it's fun. It's not necessarily simple, but it's easy enough to learn where I've seen people pick it up real fast. Star Wars Legion, the main focus of content on this channel. Star Wars Legion is a super love-filled and faithful adaptation of Star Wars on a tabletop scale. Its alternate activations keeps the game interesting, and using order tokens to randomize things keeps people guessing. It is very cheap to get into and has unit cards included with everything you buy, which is super handy reference. And it can be easier to find a group due to it being Star Wars. The big con is that it has a lot of keywords that can be hard to keep track of for new players. Blizzard Force has dominated the meta for a very long time as well before it got fixed, and it somehow feels like the only thing Shadow Collective gets is nerfs instead of some love to make them more viable. They did recently get some love, but they're still not the best. In my opinion, the biggest con of Star Wars Legion is right now, they are not getting a ton, but hopefully that will change when Shatterpoint's all done. I'm hoping Legion gets a bigger update than just the Ewok Battle Force, but that's just me. I like knowing my wargames are getting constant support, but Legion's free to access rule system and errata and points updates is well worth the praise, and AMG is doing something right. Next up is Conquest Last Argument of Kings, or CLAC for short. It is a smaller wargame, at least in footprint, and Conquest is an interesting beast as its lore and minis are fantastic, but it is still a growing community. It has a very unique and interesting deployment reinforcement system that the game is built around. The main pro is it is a larger mini scale, so it is interesting to paint, looks different, and it also actually has a large community of online players that can help you find a local group and another free rule system online. The big cons is it can be hard to find an actual group near you, even if you're close to a major city like me, and minis are about as expensive as Warhammer ones. This is something I do want to play. However, my local stores had issues with supply as well, which is why a group never formed here. They could never get a reliable supply of the minis in, and are kind of just waiting another couple months and trying again. So I'm hoping by then we get a bigger group. Finally is Star Wars Armada, a space naval warfare game. Armada is a surprisingly deep wargame that has a lot of depth in its variety of ships. It is a bit cheaper to get into and has a large online community that plays it. It is also relatively easy to teach, or so I have been told, so the barrier to entry is a little lower. The big con is there are only 4 factions currently, and while they are the major factions, there are currently not any major releases or updates planned to support them. So it is not the most supported game. So what you have is what you got for a while. They do get free rule updates and free cards and stuff like that, but mini-wise, they really haven't gotten any love recently, so it's kind of sad, especially with the potential a game like Star Wars Armada has. I mean, Star Wars, well done naval warfare game, it should be getting so much more love than it actually is. And now for the wrap-up. This is a list of all the current major wargames in my area, or that I know enough about to discuss. Hopefully my very brief summaries interested you. I hope to eventually have videos for all of them out on my channel. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I am going to be attempting to make a larger Age of Sigmar video focused on a faction. I'm probably going to try it on a faction I know nothing about currently that none of my local group plays, which oddly enough is probably going to be Uruk War Clans. If that video goes over well, and it seems like I can do enough research to actually impart knowledge about them, I'm probably going to start trying to make weekly AOS videos along with occasional Star Wars Legion. I'm hoping to keep up the Star Wars Legion videos, however, I kind of need help with ideas for videos for them and what you guys want, because I have 4 more videos planned, maybe 5, and then after that, not much, which, doesn't seem like that much, but I want to keep Star Wars Legion going weekly for another year at least. Try and show love to the game and maybe show Atomic Mass Games there's a lot more interest in it on YouTube. I don't know. I'm thinking I can have some sort of impact at least. Thank you all for watching my video. I am really happy that I get to do YouTube like this. I am very close to 1,000 subscribers, way more than I thought I would be at this point. I believe at the recording of this video, I'm at 578. So, very, very close. Over halfway there. To me, that's a huge, huge milestone and accomplishment. To any of my subscribers listening, I thank you so much. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for listening to my inane ramblings, as I'm constantly surprised at the amount of support these videos have gotten. I appreciate the fact y'all think I have a nice voice, and I hope y'all have a wonderful week. See you later, y'all.